Hi, my name is Douglas Tejan, and we will be exploring jQuery AJAX. First off, what is AJAX? AJAX stands for Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Basically, it is a way for your website to fetch and update content from your web server without reloading the entire page. Here's a quick example where we do not use AJAX. It has pulled up a lot of images and content, and as we scroll down, we find a spot to subscribe for weather alerts. We would like to validate the email typed in. Best practice would be to use client-side validation using input type equals email. For safety measures, developers often need to validate on the client side and server side in case someone passed client validation. To demonstrate an AJAX call, we will make this be an input type of text. Another scenario might be that you want to know if the email was already in the system, in which client-side validation couldn't handle. Alright, back to our example. I will type an invalid email address and click subscribe. Watch what happens. Did you see it? The page had to reload everything, and now we have to scroll down to see the error message. We could program the error message to be at the top, but either way, it has to reload all the content. Imagine if this website received millions of hits. That is a lot of data transferring just for notifying the user of an issue. Okay, let's use AJAX and see how our user experience can be improved, as well as not bombarding the web server for all that data each time. We will get to jQuery AJAX, but first, let's show how it was done before and why we would want to use jQuery. This is my HTML code for the subscribe area, and it will be calling the AJAX submit function that I will put in a separate JavaScript file. In the JavaScript file, we have this code. As this presentation is about jQuery AJAX, we will not be explaining this code. But let's see what it does for us. Here is the Weather at website again. We scroll down and put in an invalid email. Subscribe. Notice that a message appears stating it was invalid. Let's open Chrome DevTools by either right-clicking and choosing Inspect, or Ctrl-Shift-C on Windows, and see what is going on. We will click on the Network tab, and I will choose to only watch the XHR or XML HTTP requests. Now if I click on the Subscribe button, you will see a URL was called. If I click on the URL, I can see that the only data returned was the return message. In fact, this is the file that it calls. It only has this one line. Using JavaScript, I can display the return data on the page without reloading the entire page or downloading all that content again. This is so much better for the user experience and server experience. Now let's look at this code again. This code is set up to handle a lot of different types of AJAX calls, but as you can see, it can become complicated very quickly and possibly incompatible on all browsers. So here is where jQuery comes in. jQuery is a JavaScript framework that allows you to use JavaScript easier on your website. One of the areas that it simplifies is AJAX. It is lightweight, CSS3 compliant, and cross-browser compatible. We can either download a version and serve it with our own website, or the easiest is to just get the CDN link from code.jquery.com. CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. We will copy this minified version and paste it into our website down at the bottom before the body tag. If you need to use jQuery for things that happened earlier in your website loading, then you would put it in the header. But for our example, the end is a great location. Next, instead of this code, let's do something like this. That's it. Let's try it. This gave us the same results plus a cool animation. Let's take a look at how this code is working. First, we use the jQuery way of selecting an element, like this: $, parenthesis, double quote, £, AJAX, dash response. Or for a class, you can select it by my class. You can basically select the same way that you would in normal CSS selectors, only wrapping it with the $, parentheses, and double quotes. The # AJAX dash response is the ID of the div where we want to show the error message. I initially set it to not display with my CSS. The .load is a shorthand method for .ajax and is the simplest way of fetching data from the server. Just provide the URL and it will return the result and populate the element with the result, in this case a div. That's it. The other bit of code was added to animate the div into view by sliding down and then after 3 seconds sliding back up. That is using some of the other cool features of jQuery. So, does this seem easier than this? I agree. So much easier, and we can feel more confident that it is working in all browsers, and adding animation was easy. It's pretty cool. For our example to work, we need to send the email address typed to the server. Let's look at a different method, .post. This is also a shorthand for .ajax, which we will talk about later. First, we will make sure we have a name on our form element, and then we can write some code like this. This will send a post to our AJAX URL and pass in any form field found within the form subscribe block. We can then output the return data variable into our div. These are simple examples, but the syntax also allows for different responses. Suppose the server came back with an error. We could do something like this. Just for your information, I have modified the page that gets called and it will throw an error. Now if we run this and put in a value and subscribe, we get a message saying to try again later. A quick look at our dev tools and we see that we did indeed get an error back. Our code is going to write the real error to the console and return to the user the nice message of please try again later. Let's look at a quick diagram at how AJAX is working for this example. The browser makes an XHR call to web server, validates, returns error, or enters email into database and then returns success. Let's look at how you would write the page it is calling. So far I have just returned plain text no matter what was submitted. But let's say we wanted to do something different depending on if the email was valid or not. Let's change the page that is being called by AJAX and have it return some JSON data. As you would need some server-side language to do this, I will show you an example with Adobe's Cold Fusion. Other languages could be Node.js, PHP, .NET, Ruby, Python, etc. This is our modified AJAX page. Cold Fusion has a built-in email validation function, and so we will test whether it is valid. And if it is, then we return this JSON with success is true and a nice message to return. If it is not valid, then we send false and an error message. Then we write this to be output. So now we are going to show you the .ajax method and how we can handle the JSON data and do something with it. This method gives you the full power offered. We can define the URL, set the return data type as JSON, and that we will be posting, and our data will be the serialized form data. On success, we will be getting back our JSON text, which contains the success and message items. So we can pull out just the message with return data.message. Now we can add in some checking for the success status, like this. We first fill the div with the return data.message content, and then if return data.success is true, then we add the success class, and if not, we remove the class. Here is how the success class is defined. So one more try. Let us first try an invalid email and we subscribe. We get our error message in brown. We insert a valid email and subscribe. we get the message in blue, and it returns our email address as part of the string. I will also point out that not even 1 kilobyte is being used to give us this message return, a huge savings from reloading the entire website. Hopefully you can now see the power of using jQuery AJAX. Even with this simple way of doing AJAX, your script can become quite large depending on what you are needing to do and all your checking. But imagine if you had to do all this without using jQuery. For more information about jQuery AJAX, you can visit api.jquery.com/jquery.ajax. As you can see, many features are available and can give you a lot of functionality. Thanks for watching.